Welcome to AM Muscle Maintenance within Shape Fitness. I'm Coach Kim. Today's podcast workout is all about lunges. And lunges are not met always with a smile when I instruct people to do them face to face. And they're never the basis of a whole workout. So this is obviously a short workout, but we are going to do a warm-up that focuses on warming up the muscles that you need to execute lunges well. And we're going to talk a little bit about why lunges are so great for you. And then we're going to practice a bunch of variations of lunges so that you can start doing them. Now, first I want to warm you up, but let's start with the postural systems check because that's the way we always start with our workouts here at In Shape Fitness. You stand up really tall. Take a deep breath. Inhale through your nose. And then exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. And bellow all the air out through your mouth. You do that if you exercise your breathing pattern in that really productive way. First, it's somewhat meditative. So you force your brain to kind of silo the activity of just breathing. And that's really productive for you just mentally and then also to get you ready for a workout. So think about now where your body parts are in relation to your brain. So obviously your head contains your brain, hopefully. And your head is straight on your shoulders, hopefully. So I am joking, but truthfully, what I want you to make sure that you are thinking about is the placement of your head. It does weigh 10 to 11 pounds, so it's a heavy piece of equipment. Most of the time when I describe this to people and I have them, if I'm in a gym setting, hold a medicine ball that weighs 10 pounds or 12 pounds. It's heavy. If you've ever carried a child in your belly, I have. It's heavy walking around with extra weight. It throws your center of gravity off, and it's really hard to do with your hands. So if your head weighs that much and your head is sitting on top of that spindly little neck, the spine is very thin there, and then all of those soft tissues, the muscles and the ligaments and the tendons that connect the various parts of your shoulder and collarbone, the upper part of your back, to the bottom part of your jaw and your skull, you've got a bunch of soft tissues that are doing a big time job all of the time. So you want to keep your head on straight, make sure that your ears and your shoulders line up vertically, and then keep your chest open so that you can breathe well and so that you're not pulling on your back muscles. Now, tuck in your tailbone and make sure that your tummy muscles are zipped up. And the last piece of the postural systems check is for you to just think about where your muscles are in your legs. Make sure that you're not using your right leg more than your left or the other way around. That's hard to do because your dominant leg is dominant, right? If you're right-handed, your right leg is dominant. And if you're left-handed, most oftentimes your left leg is dominant. So you want to make sure that you, though, are equilibrating your effort. Now, lunges, one of the main reasons that lunges are so incredibly beneficial to any workout. Go ahead and start jogging a little bit in place as I talk to you about this, because I wanted to do a warm-up, as I said before, that corresponds to muscles that need to be warmed up for you to execute lunges well. Right? The goal here is to learn and practice some lunges and lunge variations that are useful to you in other workouts and that can be useful to you for a warm-up, for example, maybe to go for a run or to go for a bike ride. Okay, so you want to jog in place as I talk a little bit about how great lunges are, but of course how challenging they can be for people, especially if you have some knee, knee sensitivity. Okay, so let's jog in place. Now we have jogged in place. Why don't you stop jogging and extend your arms out to the sides just to open up your chest a little bit more, make some giant arm circles, and then kick your heels back towards your butt for butt kicks. They don't have to be jogging butt kicks, but just big, huge steps as you're making those big circles with your arms, and you're kicking your heels back towards your butt so that you can activate your hamstrings. Your hamstrings are very important when you execute lunges. Now, why are lunges so great? As I said, we're going to do all that. So I want to tell you why lunges are so great. 3 main reasons, though there may be 4 of them. One of the main reasons that they're so great for you is because you have to interact with gravity. And I talk a lot about gravity. You know, if you have spent time with these workouts with me on the other podcast channel, the In Shape Fitness Show, or with me personally, you know I have organized exercises into 8 priority functional areas. And of those 8, we hit 3, maybe 4 with lunges. One of them, one of the main ones, as I say, is interacting with gravity. That means lowering your body down and lifting back up. Now, why is that important? That is important because gravity is the natural resistance that pushes your body down to the earth and thus is a challenge for your body when you're interacting with it up and down, when you have to push up against it as you lift your body up, or control the urge to drop down when you are going down. So you have it in both directions. And when you interact with gravity, the pressure bearing down on your body through your head and your shoulders and your hips and your feet, all of the pressure that's bearing down on your body forces your heart rate to accelerate a little bit because it needs to pump more blood. It is going to move faster, and that means that you are increasing your metabolism, increasing your energy level. That, my friends, is the basis of all significant exercise, right? Not necessarily high-level aerobic exercise, but it does interact. Because you're interacting with gravity, you do get those benefits. So that's one reason. The second reason is because, let's see, we did a bunch of butt kicks. We did some jogging. Now, as I talk about the second reason, let's do a plank to warm up your tummy muscles. So lower your body down to the floor, get onto your forearms. I'm going to go back to those reasons in just a minute, but I want you to start a plank, which you're going to hold for 30 seconds. I am starting the clock right now, 30 seconds. And that will give me enough time to tell you the second reason, which is that it forces you, lunges force you to use your legs independently of one another. That is what I call pivoting. Pivoting is the concept of transitioning, pivoting off of one leg and then the other, and then the other. Right leg to left leg and right leg to left leg. Now, when you do a squat, for example, and your legs are working together, your dominant leg is going to do more work. Your plank is over, by the way. 30 seconds, done. So rest in child's pose for a couple seconds. Take a couple of deep breaths. Now, doing squats are great. Squats are a great exercise. However, it is very difficult for you to execute with any repetition numbers a significant amount of double-legged movement without the dominant leg ending up doing more work. So forcing the left leg to do as much as the right leg, since most of you are right-handed, I'll just keep it at that, is a good thing. The last thing is your sense of balance. Lunges force you to destabilize your body because you are trying to accurately move, to negotiate through space, the bend of both knees, and the lowering of the body down to the floor with one leg in front, right? All those other 2 reasons kind of compounded with one another. And because of that destabilization, your ancillary muscles, the stability muscles that reside on the sides of your legs, the small muscles in your feet, all of those muscles are, and the center of your gravity shifting, force your balance, your acuity for better balance to develop as well. Okay, we finished our reasons. Now you're going to stand back up, and I want you to, let's do a couple more exercises on your feet. This one is a balance exercise. What I want you to do next is position your feet heel to toe, and then extend your arms out to the sides. Palms face down. Tailbone is tucked in again. Your tummy muscles are pulled in again. And you are going to turn your head very slowly to the right and to the left. We call this the lighthouse. And I use this exercise as a warm-up for almost everyone that I work with who isn't really, really super young and basically interested in just like burning calories, because balance is the number one major concern that you need to have once you get past, let's just say in your 50s, maybe 60s, particularly in your 60s and older, where taking a fall, if you fall down, that's not to say people don't fall down. People do fall down. But if you have a higher propensity to fall down when you get older, you do more damage. So you need to develop, go ahead and switch your feet now so that your other foot is in the front, so that your foot, the front foot's in the front, in the rear, and the rear foot's in the front. And then continue turning your head. It's slowly. You turn your head all the way to the right, and then all the way to the left. And to keep breathing deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. Last exercise I'm going to do before we do some lunges is back down on the floor. I know I'm standing you up, sitting you back down, but I do want to do a hip bridge. And the reason I want you to execute some hip bridges before we do some lunges is because one of the major muscle, or two of the major muscle groups really, that help produce lunges without harming your knees are the strength of your hips, the strength of your butt and hamstrings. So the back of your legs, the back top of your legs. So bend your knees and then lift your hips up into the air, making sure that your feet are flat on the floor, making a right angle. Your knees and your ankles should make a straight line, and your feet should be flat. Don't lift your toes up. You do not want to lift your toes up. Your feet must be flat. In fact, if you're going to do anything to help accentuate the use of the back of the leg, lift up your heels slightly. Now, slowly lower your butt and then lift back up as you exhale. Inhale down, lift back up as you exhale. And let's just do 4 or 5 more of these, and then we're going to stand up. We're at 12 minutes here. I try to keep these workouts pretty short, so we're going to do some lunges. So when you have finished 5 or 6 of the hip bridge dips, go ahead and stand up. Now, we're going to start with the most basic of lunges, a simple forward lunge. Now, it's not so simple when you think about wanting it to be correct, executed completely correct with the full range of motion. So you may not be able to do it correctly yet, and that's okay. Let's just make sure there are a couple of things you can check off. And then if you don't do a full lunge, don't worry about it. So the first thing to remember is that your feet should be straight. When you turn your toes out, you engage more muscle, some muscles more and some muscles less in proportions that are not good for your body. So keeping your feet straight forces the muscles and the neuromuscular response to be triggered correctly. And even though it might not be so hard because you don't execute it to the full range, because you don't bend your knees all the way to the floor, for example, that's okay, because you're going to learn how to do it once you practice it at that sort of initial basic level first, and then slowly get better over time. So you take let your right leg stay straight and stable. Then take the big step with the left foot forward, making sure that you don't turn out your feet, either of your feet, as you take that big step. And just pause. So it's like slow motion, freeze. Once your left foot hits the floor, at least about more than a shoulder width away from your right foot. Okay, because you want to take a big step forward. Ultimately, when you bend both knees and lower the body straight down, you make 2 right angles. There's some pictures of this on my website, on bodybynshape.com. Go there and take a look, because it's really, really important that you take a big enough step forward, but not too big of a step. You want to make sure that you can bend both knees and make 2 right angles without having to lean too far forward, or without not leaning enough. Or without creating an acute angle on the other leg. So now, step back. So you've just taken a big step forward. Maybe shift a little bit of your weight forward to the front knee, but don't bend your body at your waist. That's a no-no. You want to keep your back straight. Don't contract your lower back, but you want to keep your belly button pulled in, And you do not want to create an angle at your hips, at your pelvis. You keep your back straight, your back and your tummy muscles straight. Then try again. We're just going to try a couple more, and then I'm going to have you switch legs. Now, the left foot staying still, if you're right-handed, will make this big step with the right foot a little more treacherous feeling. So when you take that big step forward with the right foot, and again, you pause, freeze. Once you get that big step forward and your right foot is planted, make sure, extend your arms out to the sides if you need to. You can hold on to a bar or the back of a chair if you need to. Anything goes, right? The beauty of doing this sort of podcast, this kind of a workout in private, is that it's in your apartment or your living room or maybe your office, and hopefully you have the ability to shut the door. So you can hold on to something. You just freeze to make sure that your feet are straight. Very important to keep your feet straight. And then if you can, shift your body weight forward a little bit. Do a few of them just to practice. You're just stepping forward, stepping back. You will feel a little off balance, and it will be more significant with your left foot stabilizing the body if you are right-handed. Now, those are forward lunges. Okay, if you're already like an expert at lunges, it's probably not the best workout for you, but you know, let's just say that you're looking for some variety. One thing that I love having clients do is to do sort of bridging or building sets where we fold in other things in between the fundamental move. So in between lunges, do a jumping jack. In between lunges, do a burpee. In between lunges, do a squat jump. All kinds of fun things that you can add just to add the variety and keep it interesting. All right, now let's try a side lunge, because side lunges are great in that you also activate the inner thigh muscles. So if you're standing up real tall, you can put your hands on your hips. You, again, focus on keeping your feet straight. You're going to want to turn your toes out as soon as you start moving, but you really want to keep your feet straight. Toes point forward. You take a big step out with your left foot. Again, right stays stable because you are right-handed. You step out with the left foot toes still not pointing out to the side. They point forward. Point the toes forward. It is a different kind of move if you want to turn your toes out that 90-degree level to point out to the side. We're not doing that right now. There is a different thing that you can do that is set up and structured in a different way, and I like that move too. But today, right now, we're doing a lateral lunge, which means we are working the lateral muscles in your legs, which is really important for almost everything in your life that you don't, where you don't even think about it. Even going for a walk, if you like walking around, like the Christmas shopping season is coming up and you're going to be out on your feet a lot, one of the main reasons people suffer from significant fatigue and joint pain over periods of time when they're out on their feet for a long time is because of the weakness in the smaller muscles that structurally support the bigger muscles that are primary movers when you do something simple like walking. So the lateral lunge, you take that big step out to the left, bend the left knee and stick out the butt as you sort of squat down a little bit, and then step back into the center. And then you do the same thing with the right side. Same variety can be built in. And guess what else we can do? Let's just add another little interesting tidbit here, which is that one of my favorite things is to make sort of a lunge round robin, where we start with the forward lunge, then a side lunge, then a reverse lunge, and then a jumping jack. A forward lunge, a side lunge, a reverse lunge, and a jumping jack. Great ways to, sort of fancy up the simple lunge maneuver and give yourself the variety that you crave and keep your body moving, which is definitely what your body craves. All right, let's talk about those reverse lunges since I just suggested that you do them. So in reverse lunges, what you do is and I'll finish with these, is you're going to stand up really tall. Your hands can be on your hips again, or you can hold on to something again. Your right foot stays stable first. The left is going to move first, and you're again going to make sure that your toes point forward. You take a step backwards. And again, it has to be big enough for you to take a big step backwards, and eventually you're going to be able to bend both knees, rounding, creating two 90-degree angles as you lower the body towards the floor without bending at the waist. So that's a simple reverse lunge. And then if you obviously try it with the right leg moving and the left leg stable, once again, you're going to feel a little funky if you are right-handed because your left leg is not as strong. Left-handed people tend to shake out slightly differently because left-handed people tend to know right-handed ways, like they do things or taught things like right-handed people are taught for because we have been abused for such a long time. I'm a right-handed person, I'm a left-handed person, so I defend left-handed people a lot and talk about them. But it's a really big deal because as a coach for a long-distance running coach, a marathon coach, one of the main things that I see in so many runners is this issue of having chronic overuse. Maybe it's low-grade pain and suffering of the right knee, the right hip, the right hamstring, the right ankle, the right shin, and that's because the right leg is doing so much more work over the long haul of longer training runs, endurance runs. So I'm going to end it here. Remember, the really fun kind of, well-rounded and variety sort of induced part of this workout was to do the warm-up with the moves that we did, where we did a little jog in place, we did some butt kicks with arm circles, and then we did a plank, and we did a hip bridge. And then we did the forward lunge, we did a lateral lunge, we did a reverse lunge, and then we talked about that bells and whistles variety combination move where you do a forward lunge, a lateral lunge, reverse lunge, jumping jack. Forward lunge, lateral lunge, reverse lunge, squat jump. Forward lunge, lateral lunge, reverse lunge. What did I say? A burpee, maybe. There you go. That's it. Have a great day. I'll see you again next week for another new workout.